See how this conversation will go with Sporting. On Victor Gyökeres and Manchester United, also guys, remember that the priority of Victor Gyökeres would be to go to Arsenal because of Champions League football, but he never rejected Manchester United. But what's the point for United? The price is really important for them, because now, as of today, their focus is on closing the Bryan Mbeumo deal as soon as possible. Man United are in the process for that, and then in terms of budget, it's going to be important to understand how much they can spend on the striker, because it's also going to be important to understand what happens with Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho. All these players have to go, and so for Man United to understand how much they will get from these players, Anthony too is going to be crucial to understand the budget for the striker.
Because Rashford could end up after his little stay at Aston Villa on loan last season, but of course that ship has sailed. Could he be heading to the Allianz Arena to join up with Harry Kane at Bayern Munich? What do you make of it, Charlie?
Well, you know, I think Rashford, you know, his heart has been set on a move to Barcelona. But I think if he ended up at Bayern Munich, he wouldn't be complaining. I mean, Harry Kane had one Englishman with him last season when he won the title, Eric Dyer. He's moved on to Monaco now. So maybe Rashford, you know, Bayern's sporting director, they've compiled a list. I don't think Rashford's at the top, if we're being honest, but they're definitely looking at him. He is an option. Luis Diaz is on that list as well. But, you know, if you're Bayern and you're in the market for a wide man, which they clearly are, as Leroy Sané's left the club, Rashford may be, but, you know, United want £40 million for him, which is a lot of money. Maybe it could be another loan deal. I don't think United want that. But, yeah, Marcus Rashford pulling on a Bayern shirt, yeah, in the same team as Harry Kane would be, yeah, a fascinating prospect.
It certainly would be. And, of course, another little ironic touch to this story, Martin, I'm sure it hasn't escaped your attention, is that if he were to join Bayern Munich, it would be a former Manchester United playing for a former Manchester City captain in Vincent Kompany, who's, of course, head coach there now. How do you think Rashford might fit in, should this come to pass, with Kompany's coaching style?
I think wherever Marcus Rashford lands, and the hope has to be that he leaves Old Trafford this summer, if they get him as fired up as he was at Aston Villa and, you know, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago at Manchester United, then you're landing a really top-class player. The challenge of the Bundesliga, I'm sure, would be something that would appeal to him if, as is starting with the case, that Barcelona might be an unlikely exit for him. The clock may tick down on this one, because if Manchester United can't receive the £40 million that they want, then you might be looking at a situation there where Charlie's mentioned there that they have to get him off their books, and therefore the loan deal, if a buying club or the loan club like Bayern Munich are keen to pay that salary, then that's a lot of money at £350,000 a week that disappears from Manchester United's wage bill. So I think that would appeal. In playing terms, like I've been on before and I've said, I've always liked the idea of somebody taking a long punt on Marcus Rashford as a centre forward. That won't happen if he's going to a club where Harry Kane is. But playing wide, he still remains a very exciting player. The Allianz Arena might just be the stage to get the best out of him. There are still good years left in Marcus Rashford, and if he was to move to Germany, that would be an intriguing transfer and something for Thomas Tuchel to watch, and hopefully see the best of that player emerge from.
It's 4 very key players who could be on their way out. Give us the lowdown on these, please.
£150 million worth of talent right there in front of us. Now, we know that Jadon Sancho, on loan at Chelsea last year, into the final year of his contract. Huge investment for Manchester United, upwards of £70 million. It's expected he'll depart Old Trafford at some stage this summer. But what will they get for him? And, of course, the big stumbling block is he's on huge wages. Anthony, Real Betis on loan. And he got to the Europa Conference League final, still has a couple of years left on his Manchester United contract. Another big investment from Manchester United of 80 million. What will they claw back from him? Maybe 30, maybe 40 at a push. But we know that sides in La Liga don't have the type of funds that they do in Saudi Arabia or the Premier League. Marcus Rashford, another big hitter, 3 years left on his Old Trafford deal. He's spoken publicly about his desire to go and play in the Champions League, which limits his options in England. We know that there are interested sides in Europe. He desperately loved to go and play for Barcelona, but whether or not that will happen, it feels unlikely at this stage. Manchester United would have to pay a big chunk of his wages. And, of course, he would have to find the right club that could satisfy his desires and needs. And Alejandro Garnacho, all of the noise really coming from him and his camp. Manchester United undecided about what they're doing with him. He's made noises he'd like to leave. Of course, a lot of value there in that player. But when you look at these four, huge potential income there for Manchester United. And obviously that could be used to refund this bill. In signing a new number 9 at Old Trafford, one of the players on their radar. We know there has been links with Victor GYÖKERES and Benjamin Sesko. Another player of interest, the 29-year-old at Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins. Manchester United are exploring a potential deal for someone who has 3 years left on their Villa contract. This will have no effect on Rasmus Højlund and what they decide to do with him or his future. But as of yet, it's important to point out there has been no club-to-club contact between Villa and Manchester United. And of course, this will be funded by a number of players leaving Old Trafford this summer as well. But this is certainly one to keep an eye on as Manchester United look to strengthen right through the middle.
And Victor Osimhen has been linked with a move to Old Trafford this summer. How likely is that one looking?
Well, Manchester United have been interested in number 9. We know that Victor Osimhen has been on the radar of a number of Premier League sides over the course of the last couple of years, really. He's been one of those players scoring goals in Europe. Things haven't worked out at Napoli. Spent last season on loan at Galatasaray, where he scored 26 goals in 30 league games. He got 6 goals in 7 appearances in the Europa League as well. There has been a persistent link with Saudi Arabia. One other thing coming from our Sky colleagues in Italy is that Juventus are considering making an offer to Napoli for the 26-year-old. That's if they get...
Manchester United have made renewed contact with Bryan Mbeumo's camp following the rejection of their bid for Victor GYÖKERES, and are now preparing a final offer worth £65 million in an attempt to get the Brentford deal over the line. Brentford remain firm on their valuation and have so far rejected multiple approaches, but sources close to the situation confirm that United are pushing hard to wrap up the transfer with personal terms fully agreed on the player's side. Mbeumo has made his stance clear: he wants the move to Old Trafford. The player has already communicated his desire to join Manchester United and is prepared to report for pre-season under Ruben Amorim, who views the 24-year-old as a perfect fit for his tactical system. Mbeumo's ability to operate across the front line, combined with his Premier League experience and consistent output, make him a top priority for the new manager's rebuild. With the GYÖKERES pursuit stalling due to Sporting CP's refusal to negotiate below the €100 million release clause, United have turned their full attention to finalising the Mbeumo deal. Talks are advancing behind the scenes, and the club believes Brentford could be more open to a structured deal that meets their valuation through fixed and performance-based add-ons. The expectation internally is that, if the next bid is accepted, a medical could take place as early as next week. United are determined to complete their business early this summer, and Mbeumo is seen as a key part of a revamped front line that could still include another signing depending on outgoing players. Negotiations continue, but optimism is growing that Mbeumo will be Manchester United's next signing.